Even though Jedi Survivor is arguably one of the best Star Wars games ever made, there's still a bunch of things people don't like about the game, whether that be things that are missing from the game or stuff they think the developers could have done better. Today I'm going to go over 10 things players hate about Star Wars Jedi Survivor. These are all things based on comments I've seen in my comment section, so if you have anything else you don't like about the game, let me know down below. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. The biggest thing I've seen players disappointed about when it comes to Jedi Survivor is the fact you can't play the game on last-gen consoles. This is a next-gen game, and even pushing the boundaries of next-gen with a world like Koboh, a giant open world for players to explore, is part of the reason I think the developers decided not to include this on last-gen. However, that said, that still excludes a lot of players from being able to play this game. I know a lot of people are still on last-gen, still using PS4s and Xbox One consoles, and not everyone has a PC.
This is outrageous.
Also, next-gen consoles can still be hard to get a hold of, and their prices don't help, being the most expensive console generation we've ever had. And for some of these reasons, it's surprising they didn't do a downgraded version of the game for last-gen consoles, and something that a lot of people are super disappointed about. No Inquisitor outfit.
What?
In Jedi Fallen Order, after you'd play through the main story, you would unlock Cal Inquisitor as a customization option for the game. In Jedi Survivor, however, the Inquisitor customization option is not even in the game, but on top of that, the ISB uniform Cal wears for one of the final missions in the game, you are unable to wear outside of that mission. Perhaps this is stuff that'll be added to the game down the track, perhaps there are updates coming, for example, the Combat Challenges game mode, but at the moment, players are super disappointed you can't customize Cal and create more of a dark side variant apart from using potentially the black Jedi robes. Which, let's be real, with the red lightsaber make Cal more evil, but we need to go Jedi hunting and we need our uniform to do so. So I've seen a lot of people talking online about the fact there aren't enough planets in Jedi Survivor. Jedi Fallen Order actually had more, with 7 planets in total, even though only 5 of them were actually fully explorable. Jedi Survivor, however, only has 6. Even though the planets in Jedi Survivor are much more expansive, lots more to find, lots more to do, include side quests, include rare secret areas with unlocks, puzzles to complete, I still see players talking about how there's not enough variety in worlds. Between the one sand planet with Jedha we get to go to, Koboh being more of a jungle and sky kind of world, I guess you'd call, like Cloud City, and then the other planets mostly feeling like space stations, it doesn't even compare to the variety we had in Jedi Fallen Order, with the additions of Kashyyyk, Dathomir, Zeffo, Bogano, just to name a few. Getting to finally go to Tanalorr in Jedi Survivor was one of the greatest moments of the game, and is the final planet you visit on your playthrough. That said, once you get there and look around and actually complete the main story, there's nothing there. And that's super disappointing, even though it seems like Tanalorr is going to play a part in the 3rd Jedi game when we eventually get that. For a location that you spent all game striving to finally get to, and upon arriving and learning that there's nothing really there apart from a boss fight and an ancient Jedi temple, it's disappointing that there's not much more to find here, especially considering the planet's High Republic history. I was hoping for way more Easter eggs from the High Republic, remnants of Jedi, what Dagan Gera was doing here, and other artifacts and items we could discover while searching through this ancient world. I've even seen people talking about how you can't even cut down some of the plants to then take back to Koboh to plant in the garden. Come on, man, I want some mystical, weird space plants in my garden. I just traveled through this giant vortex to get here, and then you're telling me I can't even cut some plants and bring them back? Disappointed. Customization in Jedi Survivor has been taken to the next level, but that said, there's still a bunch of stuff missing that Jedi Fallen Order had. For example, a lot of people are disappointed you can't get a lot of the Galaxy's Edge lightsaber parts that you could previously get in Fallen Order. They're not available in Jedi Survivor. People are also disappointed that you have to go and unlock everything again, and that your unlocks from Jedi Fallen Order don't carry over to Jedi Survivor. That would have been a really cool feature to implement. The other customization option that I see a lot of people talking about that's missing from Jedi Survivor is customizing the Stinger Mantis. You could do that in Fallen Order, you can't do it in Jedi Survivor. There are no color schemes or customization options, and also nothing you can do to the interior. I think a lot of people were hoping that the Stinger Mantis would become a bit like Koboh or the rooftop garden where you can customize where your plants go, things like that, and that there'd be some customization options for the interior of the Stinger Mantis where you end up spending quite a bit of time traveling between worlds during your playthrough of Jedi Survivor. It doesn't exist, it's not in the game, perhaps the developers ran out of time to implement this, but even adding some color schemes like what we had in in Jedi Fallen Order, you'd think would have been a simple addition to the game. Come on, man, we got a pink poncho. You telling me I can't also customize the Stinger Mantis to be pink? I want to fly around in a pink ship all day long. With the vast amount of customization options available in Jedi Survivor, a lot of players are disappointed that you can't actually save preset outfits for Cal to wear. Instead, you have to go and customize every single option individually, going through each section of the menu to select your desired outfit, hairstyle, pants, lightsaber, and everything. I think with this amount of customization in the game, a lot of people were hoping there'd be an option to save certain appearances, and you get a few appearance slots to toggle between. Sometimes I found I really like the way I've got Cal customized at the moment with his moustache and mullet, but that's not how I want my Cal to look every time I play the game. And even though it's not that hard changing between the different options, once you get deeper into the game and unlock a lot more cosmetics, it becomes a bit tiresome going through each one once again, changing the different color options, and having to rebuild your appearance from the ground up. Today I'm in a mullet mood, maybe the next day I'm in a shaved head mood.
Hello, cutie pie.
Also, staying on customization at this point, I've seen a lot of people disappointed that you can't change Cal's hair color even when you get into New Game Plus. With there being color options for certain customizations such as pants and outfits, and there being a built-in toggle to modify this, I think a lot of people were hoping that you'd also be able to change Cal's hair color once you get into New Game Plus, and you're not really playing the story as canon anymore. There were a few mods created for Jedi Fallen Order which allowed you to do so only on PC. It would be cool to see something like that come to Jedi Survivor as well. I'm sure it'll eventually get a PC mod where you can do this, but for console players, it looks like you're gonna have to stick with the beautiful orange. A lot of people have mixed feelings about how Force Slow works in Jedi Survivor. Once you complete the game, the Force Slow becomes a dark side ability and kind of acts like a super ability as opposed to what it was in Jedi Fallen Order, where you could freeze individual enemies. In Jedi Survivor, however, once you complete the game and are able to embrace the darkness, using Force Slow immediately changes your saber stance to a specific single-bladed stance designed specifically for the Embrace the Darkness ability and locks you into using this. There's no way of going back. Some players seem to really like this and being able to use it as a super ability, but others hate that you can't just use it as a simple Force Slow. Even though a Force Slow is technically a dark side ability, the only real person we see use it in all the movies is Kylo Ren, and it's when he's raging most of the time. Cal also uses it in similar ways. He originally uses it in the Order 66 flashback scene as a kid as he watches Jaro Tapal, his master, get killed. He's angry. He's experiencing dark side feelings. But once you complete the game, I think a lot of players would have liked the option to still use it in the way it originally worked, and not have Cal go full dark side just to kill a few more poor stormtroopers who were just having a bad day at work. There's one specific ability in Jedi Fallen Order that a lot of people enjoyed using that Jedi Survivor doesn't have, and for this reason, they hate that the game doesn't have it. The Kick Evade ability, which is something you'd unlock on the skill tree, would make Cal kick an enemy back and deal some damage upon performing a precision evade. This isn't included in Jedi Survivor, you can't do this ability, and instead Cal just kind of dodges out of the way. That said, we do have a bunch more lightsaber moves. Combat is much more extensive than it was in Fallen Order. There's some features like this that I think a lot of people are disappointed aren't in the game. I want to go around kicking enemies all the time, please. Now you gotta use the crossguard stance to do that. For a lot of people, Jedi Survivor has had an incredibly frustrating launch. With the amount of bugs and errors in the game, especially on PC, too many players have had a bad time with the game and have been unable to appreciate everything I think it's worth. Respawn and EA have been dedicated to fixing a lot of these bugs, but for some players this was a complete deal breaker, especially when their save files became corrupt, preventing them from progressing any further in the story. Jedi Survivor has already sold better than Jedi Fallen Order was at this point after release, but that said, a lot of players are still frustrated by the amount of bugs in the game, especially considering the game was delayed an extra 6 weeks, so that these issues could hopefully be avoided. Disappointing, but it's great to see EA and Respawn doing everything they can to actually fix the game and make it the memorable Jedi experience we were all hoping for. Especially this guy, look how happy this stormtrooper is. If there's anything more you don't like about Jedi Survivor, anything you hate, please let me know in the comments. And have you seen Jedi Survivor's Darkest Secret? The lore in this thing is so creepy. I'd recommend you watch this video here if you want to learn more about that. Follow me on all the socials, Instagram, Twitter, Discord, TikTok, and thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew, I'll catch you soon.